everyone, welcome back to another Arrow Off Script video, where in today's video we are reading more Am I the A-Hole posts. Now, I do kind of want to make my Am I the A-Hole videos a little bit more interesting, so if you guys have any ideas on how I can do that, please leave some of your ideas in the comments below. Another idea I've been having was creating a Google Forms where you guys can leave your versions of Am I the A-Hole? And if you guys kind of want to do more of a advice series where in the Google Sheets you guys ask for advice from me, we can definitely make a series out of that. I would find that super fun. So without further ado, let us get right on into the video. Excuse me if I read words wrong. I have a bad habit of just being very blind. Alright, so the first post. Am I the a-hole for divorcing my depressed wife because her depression-induced spending are dragging me down? That is a mouthful. This was 4 hours ago, so I'm intrigued. At what point do I leave my wife because her depression-induced spending is dragging me down? When my wife, 36 female, and I met, 35 male, I was in an MBA program and she was finishing her certification process to become a nurse and anesthesiologist. That is big words. I was drawn to drive an optimistic view of the world. Oh, I was drawn to her. Okay. We were both young adults, 26 and 27, who saw the world as an endless source of opportunity. We discussed having kids and when we were more established in our careers. After graduation, we both went to work. I got a job consulting, making $200K a year with a signing bonus, and have continued to grow in my career. My wife was crushing it at her dream hospital, making $150K before overtime. We were so happy traveling and enjoying ourselves. We eventually bought our own home and were truly living our dreams. Until about 3 years ago, my wife had a mental breakdown at home between shifts at the hospital. She was eventually hospitalized for a few weeks. After she came home, we agreed she would take 6 months off to recover, and I would take care of us. Immediately, she started spending an average of 2 to 3K every other week, traveling with friends and weekend trips. She stopped helping around the house and was constantly out of the house. I completely supported this for the first 6 months. She said it was part of her healing process, and I understand entirely through sickness and health. Then the agreed 6 months passed, and I asked if she was ready to return to work part-time. This caused her to shut down, so I backed off. Then a year passed, and revisited again. Another breakdown ensued. I asked if she was ready to consider starting our family and being a homemaker instead of working. We were in a great financial position and didn't need to worry about money. She agreed, and for the last year, we have been trying to have a baby. We have even done fertility testing and been given "you are both healthy, keep trying." Last week, I was driving her car and dropped my phone. I pulled over to grab it from the driver's seat and, to my surprise, found birth control pills. I was shocked and turned around on my way to work to confront her. She broke down and called me an abuser for trying to force kids on her. She has never told me she didn't want kids, and I would absolutely never push her. She then started blaming me for her breakdown. She said it's my fault she can't work. Then I brought up how I have handled 95% of the cooking and cleaning for the last 3 years because I was trying to support her and allow her to heal while she traveled and racked up a 10K credit bill every month for me to pay off. Since she has shut down and refuses to talk to me, I've been sleeping at our vacation house because she says it's detrimental to her health to share a space with me, her abuser. I can't shake the feeling that I have been lied to and taken advantage of for years now. I want a divorce, but at the same time, if she is genuinely sick, I don't want to abandon her. Am I the a-hole for even considering leaving my sick wife? I can't shake the feeling that I'm selfish for even considering this. Honestly, I say this about a good 99% of the posts I read, but I would not consider you the a-hole. And one of my biggest reasons why I am not considering the OP the a-hole is because you're mentioning the fact that you're the one currently working and that you both agreed to give 6 months for her to fully recover, even though you won't fully recover, especially if it's mental, but 6 months to at least kind of just like relax, take time for her, And then you have asked her a couple times, like, hey, do you think you're ready to go back to work? And every time that she has had a breakdown or has said no, you've backed off and said, that's okay, take the time you need. So, yeah, if I were you, I would definitely 100% feel like I'm being used, because it's like, on one hand, it's like you do want what's best for your partner or your family members or whatnot, and she, like you mentioned in the post, you don't, like, what if this is part of her mental illness and whatnot. But what I would consider is actually ask, like, not asking her, but like proposing that she goes to therapy. Like, if she isn't already going to therapy, propose that she does, because, like, her saying that you are her abuser is a very, very heavy word. That's a very strong word to use against someone, whether it be your partner, whether it be a family member, whatnot, because that word has a proper meaning, and she's just throwing it around to kind of justify how she feels. Her feelings aren't in justified. Like, she has every right to feel how she feels, but the thing is she needs to understand that you're not trying to stop her from working, and you're not trying to force a kid on her. I think right now she's kind of in this period where she doesn't really know who she is or what she wants to do, and that's totally okay. Like, you don't have to know who you are or what you want to do for the rest of your life. Like, you really don't. There's no time limit on figuring that out. But, like, for the fact that she's spending so much money and whatnot is insane. Because I know from experience myself, I know everybody deals with depression differently, and everybody, like, you get diagnosed with a different depression. Like, there's many different types of depression and whatnot. But I know from, like, my own experience, when I'm depressed, I don't spend a lot of money because it doesn't provide me with any sort of dopamine. Usually when I'm depressed, I go on the bed right behind me and I just lay there and I watch TV, or I sit in the shower. And, like, everyone's different, like I said, but from my experience and from some of my friends, usually depression isn't what causes us to impulse buy or to spend a lot of money. I find that that comes from a little bit of, like, OCD, almost. Not entirely. I'm not a professional. Don't take my word for it. But, I definitely wouldn't consider you the a-hole for considering this. Like, considering a divorce is okay. It's okay to feel how you feel and trying to find solutions. It's not selfish to try and put yourself first. What I would consider, like I said, is having a talk with her, sitting like, hey, maybe we should try therapy out if she isn't going to therapy already. And kind of just hope that if she does agree to go to therapy, that it does help, because there is obviously something there. Like, any med field job is a lot on a person. And so it does make sense that she took that 6-month break, but the fact that she's prolonged it to 3 years tells me that there's a lot more to it than just, like, there has to be something that triggers these depressive episodes and whatnot. Like, it can't just be, like, every time that you're asking, do you think you want to go back to work? Like, work is what's, I dropped my lid. But work is the common trigger. It's the common denominator of why she's going back into these depressive episodes. But also the fact that she's calling you an abuser, when to me it seems like you're literally the only person providing. You have a really good job and whatnot. So honestly, just have a conversation with her, see if she would like to go to therapy, and hope that things get better from there. And yeah, not the a-hole. This post was posted 21 hours ago, so let's pray I can read a whole lot better in this one. Am I the a-hole for cutting off and exposing a friend who took advantage of a girl I was in love with? I don't know. Let's find out. I, 22 male, had a best friend, Jake, who's 23 male, who I thought was like a brother to me. We've been through everything together: college parties, road trips, even heartbreaks. But this is something I can't forgive. Sorry, I'm a drama kid, so I have to read this dramatically. I'm so sorry. For years, I had feelings for this girl, Emily, 22 female. She was kind, smart, and honestly one of the few people who saw me for who I really was. I never made a move because I didn't want to ruin our friendship, and honestly, I never thought I had a chance. But Jake, he knew. He always knew. This sounds like some monologue that would be written for an anime. Anyway, a few weeks ago, we were all at a party. Emily got too drunk. Way too drunk. I was the designated driver, so I stayed sober. At some point in the night, I lost track of her, and when I asked around, I found out Jake had taken her upstairs. I wanted to believe he was just helping her out, but my gut told me something was wrong. The next day, Emily was distant. Different. She wouldn't say what happened, but I could tell something was off. Then last week, Jake and I were hanging out, and he started bragging. He said things like, bro, she was out of it, but she wanted it, you know? Like, she didn't say no. And then he laughed. I have to keep my cool here because if he did what I think he did, then he did something very illegal. I felt sick. I didn't say anything at first, just let him keep talking while I secretly saved everything on my phone using Reclip. Every disgusting detail, every joke, every time he brushed it off like it was nothing. And then I posted it. I uploaded the Reclip on my stories, my feed, everywhere, captioned it, "This guy you all call your friend." The fallout was instant. People started unfollowing him. Girls he had been with before started coming forward saying they had similar experiences. His job found out, and last I heard, he got fired. But now, people are saying I went too far, that I ruined his life and should have handled it privately. That even though he was wrong, I shouldn't have destroyed him like that. My own family is telling me I acted out of anger and that I should have just cut him off instead of humiliating him. Am I the a-hole? Ooh. Well, it's kind of like, honestly, if it were me, I probably, like, personally, like, you never know. Um, for the fact that you got this recorded, honestly, what I would have done is I would have went to the authorities instead of just posting it on the internet. I would have gone to the authorities because if what you're insinuating, that means he did something highly illegal. Because if somebody is drunk or intoxicated, that doesn't mean that you can do certain activities with them. You need a sober yes. But I do agree with some people, you could have handled this a bit differently. Like, I personally wouldn't have thrown it on the internet. I would have probably went to the authorities and been like, "Hey, I have a case to report." And one of the reasons why is just because it's the better way to go. It makes you look more mature, it makes you the better person rather than uploading it on the internet, because once it's on the internet, it's there forever. Even if the story only lasts 24 hours, it is in those servers forever. And like I won't say Jake didn't have this coming for him, because he took advantage of a drunk girl and thought that like everyone would be okay with it. What he did was highly illegal. Like, bad, wrong, like, don't do that to people. This one got so heavy, I didn't think I was gonna read that. I thought it was just gonna be like, he kissed the girl you liked. No. And the fact that you said that other girls actually came forward saying he had done the same, like, similar things to them. That is open for a case with the government, like with the authorities, with police, what have you. I would definitely have taken that to the authorities because they have the means to handle it correctly and actually bring like justice if those girls want that. I don't consider you the a-hole, but I do think you could have went about it differently. So I will half half-ass consider you the a-hole for now. So we are on to the final post. Let us go. Am I the a-hole for cutting off my friendship with my best friend after she joked about dick size in her friend group? Now this one's a little bit less mature, so let us read on. I, 17 male, have been close friends with Ava, 17 female, since we were like babies. Her dad and my dad were close friends, and Ava and I were born a month apart, so by extension, we spent a lot of time together. We became even closer friends in middle school and high school, and I even considered her like my sister. Everyone knows we're close friends, and many have asked why we aren't dating. But to be honest, how can we? When we consider each other like siblings. It's never crossed our minds. A couple weeks ago, one of her friends, Maddie, reached out to me and texted me a screenshot of her girls' group. In the group, they were talking about my size, telling Ava there was no point in dating me and things like that. Ava was sending a lot of laughing memes and agreeing with what they were saying. I'm guessing they know about my size because one of the girls in the group has a boyfriend who probably peeked at me in the urinal. The urinals in our school have no dividers. That is so bad. Now, for context, why do we need to know this? Average size when hard, but it is really small when soft. And while I wasn't that insecure about it before, seeing the text just made me feel embarrassed and humiliated. I thanked Maddie for the screenshots and told her she would remain anonymous. The next day, when I saw Ava at class, she said hi, and I kind of just ignored her. Ava was surprised and did try to talk to me for the rest of the day, but I told her to just leave me alone. Ava texted me a bunch of things asking what had happened, and I just ghosted her. This carried on for the next couple of days where there were a lot of text and missed calls and awkwardness in school. However, after a few days, I was upfront with her and told her I didn't want to be friends with her anymore. She did look shocked and really sad and asked why, and I told her to just leave me alone. A lot of people have asked me what had happened, even my parents, but I just think being friends with Ava is bad for my mental health. A couple of Ava's friends have even told me about how Ava is sad and crying and stuff like that, but to be honest, I don't even believe most of what they're saying, but even if it's true, I don't really care. Am I the a-hole? Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Okay. Obviously, it's a little bit like the last post where I don't necessarily consider you to be 100% the a-hole or 100% not the a-hole. I kind of think you're like the gray right in between there, because there is 100% a better way to have gone about this, because obviously you guys are teenagers, you're still figuring yourselves out. I'm still figuring myself out. I'm not a professional, but there is a 100% better way to have gone about this, because like you said, you weren't insecure about it beforehand until somebody who was really close to you had been making fun of it. So that tells me that now it has affected you, and honestly, I do think if you had tried to just communicate that and been like, hey, somebody had sent me the texts of you making fun of my size, and that really hurt me, and I don't feel like a friend would do that. Like, if you just communicated to Ava and had let her know, rather than, like, I get it, sometimes we need our space, but honestly, you could have texted and said, hey, right now, I just can't be around you. Can we, I'll talk to you when I'm a little bit more, when I've felt how I need to feel and when I'm a little bit in a better headspace to communicate with you. Rather than the way that you went about it where you ghosted her for quite a few days. To me, it feels like you ghosted her for like 4 to 5 days and whatnot, because she doesn't know what she did wrong. And obviously, I'm not siding with Ava, but I'm not siding with you either. Because the thing is in any type of relationship or whatnot, and even if you want to end a friendship, you should let them know why. Ending a friendship, just going, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, isn't gonna cut it when you're older. It isn't gonna cut it. You need to give a reason. And the reason why you need to kind of give this is why I don't want to be friends with you, or this is why I don't want to date you, or blah, 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 is one, it gives closure to the other person, and two, it also gives closure to you. Because you yourself wouldn't appreciate if somebody just broke off your 17-year friendship and didn't give a reason. You'd sit there wondering, what the heck did I do wrong? How can I fix this? Because now she doesn't know how to avoid that for future friendships. Now she doesn't know she doesn't know what she did wrong, so she doesn't know how to build off of that and become a better person. And for you, you need to learn how to better communicate your feelings and how that actually made you feel. Because if her friends are telling the truth about her crying and feeling really sad about this, like, that tells me that she does genuinely care about you and she sees you as a good friend. So honestly, I always say I recommend these things to people, but like I do 100% recommend that you should have had a talk with her instead of just cutting things off the way you did, because cutting things off the way you did was very disrespectful. Even with her talking about your size like that and whatnot was very disrespectful. You still owe her a little bit of human decency, because I'm not Ava, so I cannot tell you if, because like what you were saying is she just made memes. She was just putting memes and like agreeing. So to me, it doesn't seem like Ava was the one that started the conversation about your size or whatnot. So I don't really know. And obviously we don't know the full story, but yeah, I would have recommended that you had talked to maybe a friend or something to kind of see how maybe you could have handled the situation a little bit differently. But I would put you kind of in the gray area of not the a-hole and also the a-hole, because on one hand you're not, because like it is rude to talk about people's bodies like that, but on the other hand you are the a-hole for not really giving her an explanation. You kind of just said we're not friends, bye, and never really gave a, like, you never really sat down and had a talk with her on like, hey, I no longer want to be friends with you and here's why. You never really did the mature thing. So that's kind of why I'm going to put you in the middle there. But yeah. You're half and half, honestly. And with that, I do hope everybody enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to leave a big thumbs up and put your suggestions in the comments below if you guys want to do kind of like a Google Sheets, Google Forms kind of thing where I read out your Am I the A-holes, or if you guys want advice and we can do a series on that. But yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing day or night wherever it is you are, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys!